Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Charmed Hard with a Vengeance. You're excited?
No.
Where's your spirit? Your Kappa spirit, which is the name of the episode. It's a good play on words here. So in this episode, Lucy has got a magic candle ghost, and Macy and her amazing Galvin adventure. There's many exciting story arcs.
Was there?
The time rewriting plot, the sorority betrayal, and of course the Galvin blow-off that shook the world.
Still reeling from Galvin.
What are your overall impressions of this episode, Phelan?
It was acceptably stupid.
It was pretty stupid.
Yeah.
This was quite silly. I think probably their silliest one yet.
It felt like filler. Stupid filler.
It did, but it's weird because they do cover most of the story arcs that have been going on in the show, but most of the story arcs are pretty just stupid.
Yeah, but there's nothing going on with, I guess, the main threat of those couple bad guys, except for, like, the very end. One of them does something.
That's true.
It's just, like, you know, mostly it just seems like dinking around with the dumb sorority plot, which is like, oh, we're still doing this, are we?
I find this strange because this episode is like a runoff of a lot of things that happened last episode, and you would think, because last episode was so focused on Nico and Mel's relationship and that ending with the rewritten time writing Nico out, that this story would be about that. But instead, it focuses on the B story about the sorority thing. And they act like this is like a life or death situation. Like when Lucy is about to pour the drink on top of Maggie, they pause and like, no, don't do it, Maggie. Don't let her pour the drink on you.
Yeah, I deserve it. I need this drink poured on me.
Meanwhile, this episode starts, and they're like, Mel, it's been not even an episode. Aren't you over Nico yet? It's time for you to live your life again. Focus on important things like the sorority.
Yeah, showing how much this show ever cared about Nico.
If this is... She was not in this episode at all, except for the recap. If this is really how they wrote out her character, I'm much more annoyed than I was in the last episode, because I went over this before.
We already know IMDb's wrong, because they said she was in all 13 episodes, which she was not in this one, so... That's
true. I still don't know if they'll pick it up later, but if they don't, this goes back to what I brought up before in this podcast, that this happens to gay characters disproportionately. The tragic stories, like, they can never just be happy, and I think that's just really shoddy writing. And for a show especially that markets itself as so woke to things and being so diverse, it's just a terrible move.
It was definitely stupid, but I think it just shows how, like, bad they were with, I don't know, designing how they want the show to be. Like,
do you think it was just because they changed their mind on things?
Quite possibly. It comes off as a decision of, like, we set up these things, you know, from the pilot and, like, initial concepts, and then they're like, I don't know if we want her to have a cop girlfriend. Let's find a way to get rid of her.
But you could find other ways to work that story in and not be infuriating about it.
Yeah, of course you can find different ways.
It's like they were like, we don't want her to have that girlfriend, and we don't want her to be working at the school, so now she's just an unemployed slob hanging out at home.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything with it, and maybe, like, they'll go into this later, but as the follow-up, this episode just was wholly unsatisfying for that story.
Yeah. Well, honestly, if you want to do something actually impactful, you kill Nico.
No, but that's what I went into before about, like, killing off the gay character. Like, you could still write her out without killing her.
Yeah, but I think if you want to do something more impactful with the bad guys, you do something more tragic than just this nonsense, let's put her in a never happened box type deal. I mean, I don't think you can never kill someone's relation just because it's a gay relationship.
No, I'm not saying that, but it's not the act in itself, because like story-wise that makes sense. It's the fact that this happens on so many shows disproportionately to gay characters, and when this is the only gay representation they have on the show and they decide that this is what they're going to do with it, and especially this early on, it's hollow and doesn't really ring true to the message they're trying to market.
We didn't know who Nico was. Like, when they're playing that sappy music, like complained about last time, it's like, it's not earned. We don't know who she was. It's not, the audience doesn't care about Nico. She was barely anyone.
Nico did not have Kappa spirit, was the thing.
No.
If she did, maybe she would have stuck around.
She wore fake glasses. That was her character.
I think Lucy's story was far more tragic than Nico's.
Yeah, good grief.
So we got like a few stories going on in this episode. I think we should start with everyone's favorite story, the Galvin Saga. Take it away, Phelan.
Galvin, I'm gonna have all my pictures up. I take them around to clubs. It makes me the latest amateur.
No one's gonna know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get more and more obscure with my stupid Galvatron references.
Everyone's gonna be like, I don't know, he's talking about Transformers again.
Yeah, Galvin says, I am unicorn. The earth is now a part of me.
I think an interesting thing has developed in the Galvin storyline.
Oh, did it?
Yes. I think an interesting thing has developed outside of the show, and that he's starting to get Daryl syndrome.
Well, they lost Nico, so I guess they need a Daryl.
Well, Nico, while she had the sort of the function of Daryl, she didn't have quite the politelessness of Daryl, which
she's pretty politeless in the end. Politeless.
Galvin is a character with completely undeserved importance and no reason to be there. Like, they act like he's the cool guy, but he's just there like, hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah, I love bringing pictures of myself to parties. Yeah.
Okay, we should explain this, what's going on here. He is having his birthday party, and
and Macy invites herself to it.
Yeah, there's this awkward self-invite at the lab where he's talking about the party, and she's like, I'm in! And he's like, yeah, I guess.
Didn't invite you.
Yeah, and she's like, well, we were going to your place, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, well, my apartment was too small, so I rented out this room at the school. That's what it's gonna be. So they go to this room at the school, and there's pictures of himself and his family there, like framed pictures.
Yeah.
Which means when he's getting ready for this party, this grown-ass man took a bunch of pictures from his house and made a little table for them.
It's weird enough that he has, like, framed pictures of himself, I guess, that were up in his place to bring to this party anyway, but I mean, I guess he just likes looking at himself.
Well, I mean, there was pictures of his family and stuff.
Yeah, but there's one that's just a picture of him, just a headshot. Like, he needs to walk by every day and like, oh, yeah, that's me.
This seems like the sort of thing, like, if someone was throwing a party for someone else, they might do. But he clearly arranged this himself, so what is going on?
He's a weirdo.
Can you imagine going to someone's birthday party, like an adult drinking alcohol kind of party?
Yeah.
And you go there and they got a bunch of framed pictures of themselves set up like by the snacks? That would just be bizarre.
Yeah. So we're like furthering the Mark of Galvin saga. Like, Macy brings Harry with her to this party, and they're like, oh, it'll be less awkward if I come with a date. Then immediately she's like, yeah, he's not my date, he's just a friend.
Yeah, what?
Like, a way to blow the, like, tension breaker thing.
This was... The whole thing was bizarre there. Do you think that they're trying to make Macy and Harry a thing as a couple?
Possibly. They're certainly hinting at it. I don't know if they'll go there, but...
What do you think their couple name would be? Mary?
Yeah, sure.
Casey?
Had a little lamb.
This is strange to me. I don't even see, like... Some people were commenting about this, that this is a thing. Some people are, like, shipping them or whatever, but I don't...
Okay.
It's so awkward. I don't see the chemistry at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
They had, like, they had an intimate scene where they're talking in the attic, and he says that he's staying with them even though the elders didn't... Like, they said that he didn't have to stay there anymore. They didn't need more protection. But he's kind of lonely.
They got their book back.
Yeah, and that's a whole other thing. Like, the elders made him live with them for a while, and...
Yeah, and now, like, they all don't need him because, what, they haven't tried to kill them again in, like, a day or two? Like, seems like they're really rushing things.
Well, I mean, it makes as much sense as, like, him being around even though they could call him regardless.
Yeah, that's kind of silly.
But I mean, I guess they could be knocked out maybe and can't call him or something.
Mm-hmm. But like, nothing about the threat has ended yet at this point. They just had to non-person someone, so it's just like...
Maybe it's because they got rid of the Harbinger, so they think that there is no, like, danger at the moment. Even though, I mean, there is that guy who went after Nico, so they know something's going on.
Yeah, but that's not done yet. And they said that guy's so unstoppable that they had to just give up on Nico and get rid of her from existence. So,
but no danger anymore. It's fine.
they're good.
I had a question about something that they brought up last episode. When they do the whole reversal thing... The whole time reversal thing.
If they could turn back time.
If they could find a way. They talk about, what if we went back in time and just stopped, who from getting killed? Who were they wanting to save?
I don't know, Andy?
Andy? Maybe they were saying they could go back and stop their mom from dying. I don't know. Anyway, they mentioned they could go back and reverse this.
Yeah, that's probably what they said.
And Harry says that death is the one thing that they can't undo. Harry is a formerly dead person that the elders brought back to life. The elders, who are apparently just witches. So, yeah. I mean...
Which their mom was one of, apparently.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, if you could say just extremely powerful witches could undo death to create white lighters, I mean...
Yeah. Guess you could make them a white lighter, and then, I don't know, they'd have to figure out who they are, though.
They'll probably do that with their mom. They can't seem to get rid of her. She shows up again!
Again! I was just like, what?
What is
She's
happening?
Appeared out of, we're on episode 6. She's in 4 of the 6 so far. Like, you know.
She, maybe 5. She just can't stop showing up.
Yeah, well, you can't get rid of her. Like, I don't know why they killed this character. They can't stop bringing her back. It's like, we can't miss her. She's never been gone. She's pretty much like Grandma Ghost at this point. She hasn't even appeared as a ghost yet. It's just like, oh, you're dead.
She was a fake ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, she's been a fake ghost. But like, it's pretty much like Grandma Ghost, though. It's just like, oh, she's dead and she'll never stop appearing. I'm like, Mom, like, already, at least they waited a little bit with Grandma Ghost. Here's just the mom's never gone away.
They show her via a sort of flashback, which we'll get into, because I got some things to say about that. But she is talking about Macy, like she's pregnant at the time, and this is like a flashback to the 80s. And
yeah, she's like, I saw the parade on for Thanksgiving, and I was like, Macy, done.
Perfect. They make no attempt to make her look younger in the slightest. And after they see this, the girls are like, she looks so young. What? They didn't even dress her like she was younger. She just looked the same.
Yeah, not as young as Grandma Ghost did in the 60s.
This episode very much reminded me of that one. Very much. Yeah. She says that she's worried about Macy because this is during her first pregnancy, and we find out the reason why later, because Macy goes to a psychic or a priestess because of her great Yelp rating.
Yeah, I missed that line about it, and you told me that. I was like, ugh. 'Cause I thought, like, maybe Harry took her to one that he knew was legit for some
Harry
reason.
was the one who said they should go because she had 4 stars on Yelp.
Uh-huh.
So he was involved technically. He trusted Yelp's rating system. I thought that was kind of funny. I laughed at it.
I guess.
She goes to some, like, Miss Cleo lady.
Uh-huh. And then, of course, she's legit, and she actually knows what's going on. She's like, oh, you have darkness in you.
You've got the Eevee in you. You've got the music in you.
You've got the touch.
You've got the
power. And that goes with the 80s thing.
Yeah. She says that she's got this darkness in her, and I was correct on 2 counts. Because this appears to be a new power, because she's the one that can see this because of the darkness in her.
Right.
And I think they're hinting that she's part demon or something with the darkness in her. I think that's what's going on, why she gave her up.
So you think the mom had a few too many wine coolers with a demon?
All right, Phelan, why don't we get into this story? You seem very into this 80s wine cooler story, so what happened?
They went to the 80s, and then they did a bunch of coke and voted for Ronald Reagan.
Oh, that's what happened.
They weren't even expecting to go back in time, right?
No, they
did
weren't.
some spell, and then they time traveled for the millionth time. Well, we're combining it with old Charmed, but it's like Charmed, like 6 episodes in, and they've already messed with time twice.
They messed with time last episode. Give us a breather. But technically, they were not time traveling. They were ghosting into the 80s.
But they were still like TV static ghosts in the past, like when that guy walked through them, like the ghost was in the present. So that was weird.
Yeah, I didn't really get the TV theme with this at all. So here's what's going on with this episode. Lucy, the sorority girl, is upset still about Maggie macking with her boyfriend, and she needs to
never get over Parker Peter.
She needs some serenity in her life, so she lights the candle. And then the candle goes.
Then the candle that hoose.
That candle has been a curse in your family for generations. Candle, that damn candle.
And she is seduced by a candle ghost. As sexy times. A candle ghost comes out, and she is this weird TV static 80s girl who is this bitchy sorority girl who was a total bully to all these other girls and got drunk on wine coolers, fell off a roof.
Bullied the poor sorority girls.
They were all bitches.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They were trying to do this parallel with Maggie and Lucy's story that did not work at all.
No.
Unless you go with the charmed ones are the true villains, in which case, yeah, it is kind of like it.
Yeah.
But she fell off a roof and died, so now she comes out of the candle to kill Lucy. And they think that this has something to do with what happened in the 80s, so they cast the spell to see what happened, and they end up ghosting back to the 80s, where everyone looks like they have jumped out of Saved by the Bell. Mm-hmm. They're all dressed in like aerobics outfits, even the ones that aren't doing aerobics, just so you know that this is the 80s.
Well, Saved by the Bell was 90s, so they didn't do it right.
I think Saved by the Bell started in the 80s, though, didn't it? I'm pretty sure it was the 80s. It was 89.
Oh.
Take that, Phelan.
You got me. It's a total 80s show.
I love the 80s aesthetic as much as anyone, but this felt like it was the equivalent of that 60s episode or 70s episode that they did from the original Charmed. No, it was the 60s when they go back to the grandma with the go-go boots.
Mm-hmm.
It was like if you looked up a Halloween costume of that decade, and then you like just say that's what that is.
It was especially ineffective since we've been watching the Goldbergs lately, which has done a better job of it. I noticed things that are wrong, like some of their print t-shirts in that show are too new looking for the 80s, but other than that, for a lot of the time, it looks like they're in the 80s, and then this was just kind of a pale comparison thing.
The Goldbergs is sort of like the 80s through a nostalgia lens. Like, it's sort of an exaggerated version of it.
Yeah, but like all the things you see in it, like a lot of the sets and like the technology and like the things you see around there, it tells you it's the 80s.
Oh,
for
for
the most
sure.
part.
It does exaggerate things, but it never feels like it goes into cartoonish half-ass level, and this is what this feels like.
Yeah, exactly. This is just like, look, here's some outrageous things that you'd be like, oh, I guess that's 80s because they got that going on. But they don't show you anything very good or like that interesting about this period.
All they do is just walk through a quad and then and hear like this girl bitching at them, and some people are doing some aerobics and they leave. It was nothing. Maggie looked like she fit in though, with her like rainbow plaid blazer going on.
Yeah, it was really funny. Like she commented on the ghosts like 80s-ish makeup, and she's like, "Oh, what the hell?" Or
yeah,
whatever.
like the pink eyeshadow, which
doesn't
then, even seem that weird.
all her like outfits, like you said, like she could fit in there, and she's 80s. I don't get it.
Some people are trying to out-tacky me. Everyone, they had to do these constant like pop culture and lingo references too to remind you they're in the 80s in like a really unnatural way, like, oh, you're totally bugging.
Oh yeah.
Princess Diana and the Duchess of whatever. Just to remind you what decade it is.
What they did.
You know what I wrote in the notes? I was just looking at it during that section about the 80s. I wrote in all caps, "Get the hell out of here, Mom! Give us time to miss you. I'm sick of you."
I know.
And it added nothing, because already Macy's story was going into like her origin and the weird darkness surrounding it. Like the mom thing didn't really add anything to it that we
it's just
needed.
saying the same thing, really.
It felt like they had her like contractually obligated for a certain number of episodes, so they just had to like shove her in there.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, I don't know why you would be like, okay, well, this character's gonna die, so let's make sure we've contracted her to be in so many episodes. Like,
Yeah,
that'd be a really dumb move.
I don't know. If it sounds like a good idea, try to find a way to make it stupid. And if it sounds like a bad
that was a
idea, they're
bad
going to make it
idea.
even dumber.
It's a bad idea. They'll definitely okay it.
So, this candle ghost. The candle ghost!
That damn candle.
Her name's Brenda, and she is...
Name's Beverly.
Lucy was reading a particularly erotic chapter of her grandmother's diary.
Their mother's diary.
Of her mother's diary. And Brenda tells her to drink a bunch of wine coolers, get on the roof, and jump. That effect, that green screen of them standing on the roof, was about on par with Old Charmed.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad. It was comically bad.
Yeah, that was awful. Yeah, it was just like, wow, you're really going with that. All right.
I love how much that the actress who plays Lucy leans into this Valley Girl character, because it's really like, it's not great acting, but it is funny. Yeah. When Brenda's like, she says, "Shut up and chug, loser." Okay. I think she was the part I enjoyed the most about this episode. I never really cared about Lucy before, but I was Team Lucy on this one.
The ghost, like, oh no, like, just has this weird drugging you effect. Like, it makes you susceptible to her suggestions.
It's the Sub Rosa pheromone.
Yeah.
She gassed her with her green farts and made her drink a bunch of wine coolers. When she falls off the roof, Mel freezes it, and the ghost is trying to like get her to unfreeze her.
Yeah,
and
she
they're
tries
like,
to grab the remote and like, fight over the remote. It's the 80s.
And they tell Harry to go teleport in the air to grab her. And he's like, teleport midair? That's unorthodox, but I guess. And then he does it super easy.
Yeah.
Like this was always an option.
Why was it even mentioned?
Yeah.
It acts like it's a dilemma, and then it's not. So it's like, why'd you bring it up then? You could have just done it.
He acts like this is a thought that's never occurred to him. So, like, in all the years that he's been a white lighter, 50, 60 years, this has never come up. Like, maybe that's part of the reason that one of his charges died. Like, what?
They were falling, and he's like, teleport midair? I don't know.
This seems most unorthodox.
Oh, well, they died while I was thinking that over.
Harry had some pretty good moments in this, I thought. I find this very hilarious that he's just hanging out with a bunch of, like, girly girls all the time. This episode, near the beginning, they're all out at the club called The Haunt, which apparently is a new fixture in this show. And all of them are hanging out, and Maggie goes, cheers, bitches! And then almost comically, it's like pan over and Harry sitting with them.
Yeah.
Cheers, bitches! Yes, cheers, bitches!
Well, I think that was supposed to be comical. But
I guess that's the idea there. I should give them credit where credit's due. It was funny. He shows up for this party at Galvin's wearing like a Gryffindor tie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Gryffindor now. And he's made some Welsh rarebit for the party.
Mm-hmm.
What a fuddy-duddy.
Which Galvatron's girlfriend was all about, and she was raised on that, apparently.
Apparently. I don't know what to make of Summer's character, like...
Not much.
I love the rabbit, it's so good.
Where's Echo the dolphin?
No, you need to not hang out with my boyfriend. If you wanna, it's up to you.
I think I'm gonna keep hanging out with him and you'll do nothing, Summer. I just put a symbol on him again. I got darkness.
Did I call her Mel? I meant Macy. I'm still mixing up their names.
Melcy.
Melcy. The M's, bitches.
Melby.
Melby? Maybe that's why I'm getting mixed up. Keep thinking of Melby. Because she's off the chain!
Yes. Anyway, Scary Spice and Harry are at the party.
She is British, too. In real life.
Yeah.
I didn't like Macy in this episode. Normally I like her, but she's kind of coming off like a creep.
Yeah, this whole Galvatron storyline's not doing her any favors.
I know I guess they're going with she's supposed to be doing this because of the mark, like she has to kind of invade his space, but
it also, it's just, it comes off too creepy and like, I'm way more into him now that he's got another girlfriend. Like,
Yeah. I'm very interested to know what it'll be like when they eventually have her play evil. Because I feel like even if this isn't the storyline they're going with, which I think they are, it's sort of an inevitability and Charmed. They're going to get turned into something and be evil at some point and be in a trashy costume. But they already did the trashy costumes, I guess, didn't they?
Yeah.
But I'm very interested to know what it'll be like because I don't know if I'll buy her playing evil.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I guess we'll see what her acting's like. This is acting, so it could be that she can do this very well, but right now it's just
like
very
Phoebe,
strange.
who just like fit in so well, and she was supposed to be evil on the show. It's like she didn't have to change a whole lot, but it's just the show acknowledging that she was evil for this brief period before they pretended she wasn't.
Yeah.
And when she was more evil than ever, and they acted like she was in the right.
They have the conclusion to this sorority storyline, and they're all apologizing to Maggie that, like, oh, I'm sorry, I know this was really important to you. I'm sorry that you focused on this so much. Mm-hmm. So they do what I think was kind of a cute scene where they're initiating her into the sorority of, like, the V's, the Vera sorority. Mm-hmm. By the way, until reading the comments for the last episode, I had no idea what their last name was. And they initiate each other with a scarlet letter. because Maggie, as we know, is an adulterer. They initiate Harry into this group too. He's part of the sisterhood.
They're all in the Voyager Club. Then Janeway's in the corner. It'd be amazing if they like Kate Mulgrew is like this supreme witch or something.
She's just dressed up like in the Voyager holodeck stuff when she's like the evil 50s serial villain.
Right, yeah.
She'd be an amazing villain on this. Get Kate Mulgrew in this. I didn't comment on this last episode, but I feel like it's relevant now because this was the twist at the end. Alistair Kane and his was it him or was it his subordinate who was also his son apparently?
Yeah, it was the other guy.
It was the son?
Yeah.
The big wiener? Okay. By the way, it's his son apparently. his big wiener son shows up in the science lab and they get them they get whoever's in charge to get blood samples from everyone so they can get Macy's witch DNA.
Yeah.
Her witch DNA.
Bingo. Dino DNA.
And then he kills Mr. Clean, the new boss of the lab.
How many people are getting killed in this lab? Shut this lab down. This is the third person to be murdered in this lab.
Rotating door for directors of this lab.
Why does this keep happening? Should just make it a morgue at this point. Make it easier. Less transport time.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if, like, Demon Boy is gonna, like, cosplay as Mr. Clean for a bit. Maybe that's what's gonna happen. I don't know.
Maybe. That would make sense. It would be a better plan than anything he did with the Nico storyline.
Yeah.
They ended the last episode, too, with, they sensed a disturbance in the Force. They knew some sort of temporal shift happened, but they don't know what, so they're not after Nico anymore.
Yeah. Well, because they don't
Wouldn't it be hilarious if it didn't affect them, so they were still going after her?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't affect demons.
Yeah. We're outside of their time, space realm or whatever. Just go over and kill her. I still think it would have been, like, really deserved if, like, you know, they found out Nico died immediately after they changed time. It's just like, oops. That's what you get for playing with that.
Whoopsie doodle. Alistair Kane's company was called Morning Star or something or other.
Alistair Company.
Alistair Company.
Morning Star? Like the Nuggets?
Yeah, I was thinking of the Nuggets. Like, oh man. He makes the most... They're vegan, because they're woke, you know? So you got any final thoughts about this episode?
Not really. It's pretty dumb, and I wasn't impressed with their version of the 80s, the bit we saw of it.
Didn't you like the BuzzFeed reference?
Yeah, it's like... that was kind of funny, like that, was it Mel and Maggie walk in and say, yeah, we're with BuzzFeed Unsolved, and we're here to prove that ghosts exist, and then it cuts to Shane, and he's shaking his head, no. Then like, but look, Shane, here's this television ghost, proof. He shakes his head again.
Fuck you, television ghost! I thought this was probably their most hilariously bad episode. I wouldn't call it good, but it did make me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they had the wrong focus on the wrong things. Lots of twists and turns. As long as they don't go into infuriating territory, I don't mind the show going in this direction, because that's what charm's all about. Being stupid and campy and getting everything wrong.
It's also about being infuriating.
Well, we can only hope that it goes in the direction the original Charmed went, because that was fun. Fun watching. Dates. Lots and lots of dates.
We're gonna find out Parker's really Balthazar or whatever, and then he'll, like, redeem himself, and Maggie will be like, "That's never enough!"
And once they find out that Macy is part demon, they're gonna say, "You're genetically evil now," and they're gonna blame everything on her. Thanks, Macy Bomba.
Why is this house not clean? It's because you're part demon. Clean the house.
Stupid. So I give this, I don't know, 3 out of 10 stars. My arbitrary rating for this.
I give it 0.
Out of 0.
Yep. Perfect score.
No expectations were had or met.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, I think that's all we gotta say for this episode of Charmed Heart with Vengeance. If you guys liked what you heard, give us a subscribe, a thumbs up, spread the word.
I didn't like what I heard.
Don't be like Galvin. Spread the word, don't be boring.
Don't be unicorn. Obscure.
Put pictures of yourself at your own birthday party.
And leap yourself over to a toilet.
We're not going in that direction again. Don't get me started. See you around, Charmanders.